Well, so, anti-corn law league then. Corn, does it really matter? Well, it certainly mattered in the 1800s, because as it said, the staple diet of the country, and that was for the lower classes, for the labouring classes, you know, they didn't, not much meat, vegetables, not very much as well, but certainly wheat and a variety. Now, as far as we're concerned today, corn is all of these. All right, so I'm not going to, you know, say specifically which one. It's just a generic term for the whole lot. And even today, some of you may well have had cornflakes for your breakfast, or porridge, or that porridge, you know, don't forget, or just toast and bread, which comes from, you know, wheat as well. And obviously, I haven't been remiss, and there are biscuits later on in the break, because obviously that's the most important thing, not all this tosh, but just the bread. Now, on top of this, this was happening. 1801 is the first census, first official census anyway. I think it's only England and Wales, but I don't know why it didn't include Scotland and so on as well. But anyway, just to give you an idea of population, and it's not so much population, but population growth in this early period. So there's more people to feed, so the landowners thinking, well, there's more people to feed, then can grow more wheat, and I can make more money, and I can become richer and richer. So it's just as basically, and also for the labourers, as the population goes up, it means there's more people to work, which means therefore the wages might come down. Therefore, if the wages come down, the price of corn is high, then they're going to starve even quicker. All right, so it's that sort of issue, and a very, very simple. And England say, no, we don't want Europe, we don't want French people, we don't want Europeans, we'll vote against being part of Europe, and so on. And they've got all the corn, and as you can see here, tipping it into sea. Very reminiscent of another incident in British history.
Brexit.
Well, the Brexit, in terms of modern day issues, the Brexit thing, excellent. And the tipping of something into the sea. The tea, that's right, and Boston Tea Party. So he wants to open Europe up. Alright, so he would have voted to stay in Europe if it had been voted today. Cut the price of corn, which, oh, brilliant, he's on our side. Cut the price of other food, because if the price of corn comes down, the chances are other food will do as well. But, like I said, was he doing it for us, the poor people, or was he doing it for, you know, probably a bit of both, to be fair. You know, they'd seen the benefits, as I'm going to mention when we get to the Rochdale stuff in the second half. Now, this was a massive one. This was dead important, and this argument persuaded somebody that it was the right thing to do. In other words, if we only grow corn, that's fine. Landowners making a shed load of money. What happens if Tambora happens again? What happens if there's a famine? Now, some of you might know the answer to this, and it's about to happen in about 10 years' time. What happens in Ireland? Potato famine, with a one-crop economy. This can be, you know, it's a disaster in Ireland. He actually sent £100,000 worth of corn. This is how good Peel was as a Prime Minister. He sent £100,000 worth of corn to Ireland, to the little villages, to try and help them. The only problem was, because the Irish didn't have corn or wheat, they had no idea what to do with it. And just, oh, yeah. What do you do with that? And sort of thing. So it wasn't, you know, it was helpful, but not completely helpful. But Peel is now persuaded. Peel is now, right, I'm for this.
Well, COVID started.
It's history because they are.
And in Bolton, as I said, they set up their own cooperative society. It started in the 1880s. Hebden Bridge was the first local cooperative society, and Bolton then a couple of years later. And this lady, Sarah Reddish, who's that rather stern-looking lady there, was one of the main contributors to this. She was from Westleigh, which is kind of West Orton way, and down there. She was a real trade unionist, a Spencean, supporter of Robert Owen and so on. She was a founding member of the Weavers Union. She was a trade unionist and so on. In 1902, I think if that's the coronation of Edward VII, she stood on the steps on Bolton Town Hall and made a massive speech about the amount of money that was being spent on the coronation, and it could be better spent on poor people in Bolton, and so on. So nothing changes. So I want to go down there now. Why there is no statue of her? I don't know if there's even a blue plaque anywhere for Sarah Reddish. And then there's these two ladies. Now, this one, some of you may well know of this lady, Susan Isaacs, and those are because apparently there was a Susan Isaacs nursery, and so on. Well, is that where the nursery was? Because I know the plaque.
School Hill.
Opposite Cannon Slade.
It is. This is opposite. So all the children who come out of Cannon Slade see this as well. And just on Cannon Slade, when I was doing this, Cannon Slade came to Bolton in about 1817. I can't remember where from.
Cambridge.
From
Cambridge.
Cambridge. And Bolton was a really destitute, and he did loads of things in Bolton from then and so on. And because he saw how poor and how and so on, and he built churches and all sorts of things. And obviously, then the school takes his name and so on as well. So because of things like the Corn Laws and so on, so Canon Slade does his duty during that period and for the good of Bolton also. And so Susan Isaacs lived at number 32, Bradshaw Brown. And that's where the plaque is on the house there. And then this lady, Alice Collins, lived on Riding Gate at Harwood. And she were a right gobby thing. So, I can't understand. Yeah, she really stood up and spoke out in the socialist movement. She was the organist at Bolton Labour Church. So I don't know where that is, or whether it's a different name now, or whatever it is. But she was involved in that as well, and another socialist and strong supporter of the labour movement, and so on, like I said, and lived most of her life at Riding Gate as well. And then, just very quickly, because it is past, coming back to the Rochdale pioneers, if you go to the Rochdale Cemetery, there is a tour, and there's about, out of the original 28, I think there's something like, I'll say 15, graves of the original people that were involved in the co-op movement. And you can go around and have a look at these graves and so on, if that takes your fancy, and so on. And that's it. So thank you very much indeed.